Alright, this video, I'll not do any edits. One take. I'll just do it one take, no script, just me rambling. That's it. You can pretty much put this video in the background of whatever you're doing, and honestly, I wouldn't care. I just want to get this message out there. Yeah, you read the thumbnail? Yes, there's a good chance that I only have one more year left with this shit. I mean, this channel, right? And I'm explaining. So I've been wanting to make this video for a good while. And I finally make it after my end of year project is finally done, and I can finally do this in peace while I pack my things for the next year, right? Right now, as you know, that I'm studying in the UK. I am in my third year of my university studies, and I only have one year left to like do my masters and like get my degree, right? So, what do I mean by I only have one year left? Well, simple, really. As you know, this YouTube channel, the main theme is so-called stray cat. Well, a stray cat in London, sort of. There's a 90% certainty, maybe 80. I don't have much plans yet. That I will not be in London anymore. Don't get me wrong, this is a fantastic city. I have pretty much not many complaints about this place. It's all fine. It's a wonderful place. It's just that it's just so fucking expensive. And that's it, really. It's a nice place to study in a way, I guess. But if you genuinely want to live here, I don't think like I can like be economically feasible to even be able to stay here. Especially with my type of degree of engineering, I there's a good chance that I will be working outside of London, which makes me that I need to move elsewhere. My options are, in terms of location, pretty much a good chunk of the world. Honestly, I don't really have much plans on where to work. I just want to work in a place where it's just better than where I came from. Really, I just want to get on my own and just go somewhere, just anywhere. You know, anywhere that's decent. The most of Pretty much the most of the EU is fine. Canada, honestly, I used to consider the US, but not much these days. Um, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, even like heck, even Japan, even. I just have zero plans regarding that. So worst case scenario, I'll just find a job that might like take so much of my time that I might be stop this channel altogether. But from my estimations, I don't think the chance of this happening is pretty much like 10%. You know, a good chance is that I'll probably rebrand. But one thing I can say for certain is that like I will not stop drawing at all. Is that I'll just keep on drawing. Worst case scenario, I'll just keep on drawing. I will still have my Discord server. Please join my Discord. Just keep drawing. That's it. Like maybe at one post like every 2 weeks or even a whole month. You know, drawing will not go anywhere. That's my biggest promise to you. Um, so now I'll be venting with other things. Let me think. Honestly, there's only like three main parts, right? I want to start off um with careers, I suppose, right? I study in a university called Imperial College London. If you don't have never heard of it, it's basically the MIT of the UK in a way, I suppose. But instead of like Boston is in London, um, I have throughout my 3 years, I have met so many really great people. Like it kind of opened my world up in a way. I would, and there's so much opportunities that I just literally just I'm amazed essentially, right? I was like having a conversation with other people. They were like having dreams of like working at like stuff like Formula One, working at getting a lot of money, working with big companies, building big stuff. You know, and the steps they are willing to take in order to get those things. They are doing a lot of great things. That's one thing I wanna mention it first, right? But the problem is, I'm not like one of these guys. Like in order to get to universities that I'm like kind of like top tier university that I'm studying right now, you definitely need certain talents and a lot of hard work in order to get in. That's for certain. And you definitely have to like build a certain way in order to get in. But like I'm just I feel like I'm just a bum some way because they're all like very career oriented in a way. They're all just like care about their like businesses and and their like future in general. That they're doing really well to themselves, finding like different internships and shit. I do apply for jobs. Don't get me wrong, but like, I literally got none. Um, that's the first thing. The second thing is I feel like as a the national student that always has to like go back home every summer, right? The local ones or international ones that are willing to stay for a longer time are willing to be able to work on their career a bit more. I feel like it's just that there's not much things going on back in my home. That's like one of the key advantage to they I feel like they have. Anyway, um, that's one thing, and because of the fact that like, it's just really hard to find place to live here and like do things. Um, the second of all, I honestly I don't know when. I think you guys have heard of the story of like people who do really well at school and then all of a sudden they decide to not do as well in life. People always say like it's a disappointment or something. But I think like slowly in my real life, I realized why these people exist. Not because something happened to them, something mental. Like maybe like they're so used to being the top that they like find themselves stuck in a situation when they're not the top and they just like screws them over mentally. And I realize it's more than just that because like sometimes, quite frankly, they just choose not to. You know, as a guy that just so happens to get into like a good uni, obviously you do expect me to study real hard. Well, I mean, like do really well in school, but honestly, in fact, a good chunk of my life, I'm like a C or B student at best, honestly. Um, Mainly because I'm just not really good at humanities, and I always have to like do spend all time there. It's only like recently when I started moving to the UK where I suddenly became a top student, right? And at that point, like I think this does relate to a lot of people who grew up in an Asian education system, moving to a Western place, because it is genuinely way more competitive in like Asia in general. Hence why, if you just skip over the other way, it just feels like a different world. While like the people I know in uni, they're all very competitive. Don't get me wrong, I can get very competitive, but like the reason why they are competitive because they want to be the guy, they want to be the shit. While I'm doing competitive things because I feel like I'm just so happen to land into situations where I have to. You know, don't get me wrong. Like I have been to doing things. I've been to like math competitions. I've like got awards from those. You know, I've definitely been to robotics competition and I've even won and get to go to America for the first time, even though it's Detroit, right? Um, Honestly, so I just like after going to the UK, I literally didn't like participate in any sort of like competitions, like one of those things at all, because I just realized I literally don't care about all the achievements I've gotten. Like I literally just don't give a shit. I just like yeah I did got shit. Yes, I do get praise for that, but honestly, other than the praise that one time you just happen to get, honestly, there's nothing. You know, even if you did yourself really well, all you will be remembered by is that you're the guy who did this thing really well. That's it. I don't want to be like that. I'm sick of people who just say that I'm just the guy who just do certain things. Because I feel like I am genuinely have more than just a guy who does things. I'm just sick of it, you know. I just and unfortunately all the people that I first met just know that I'm the guy that does certain things. That's it. So at some point I was like, why do I even try? You know, people just don't like. I always like because I was like bullied at school a lot. I always like I always feel like do gaining achievements would give me like recognition amongst other people. I feel like it's the only way for me to socially gain forward, but it never did get me anywhere simply because that they only see me like the surface deep. That's all they know. Um, so that's why I was like, fuck it, right? I honestly, I just want a job, right? That's it. I just want to stay with y'all. I just want to live. That's it. I remember like I was in a kitchen, right? I've seen like these two ladies, right? They were all talking. Oh my god, I wish I could, but like I hope I could like work so hard I could be so rich that I don't have to cook anymore. Bitch, all I need is a kitchen. That's all I need. You know, it just makes me feel kind of like behind in a way, kind of lost in a way. I just wander around. I'm just a wanderer, you know. You know, second of all, right? Um, let's talk about relationships, right? I've been struggling this so mad because all the only few friends that I know from back in my own country, right? They're all like getting relationships. They're all getting girlfriends and boyfriends now. I feel like I'm like one of the few people that I know that are like still single. I think like from that old school of mine, right? I just could never get to meet anyone that I love. You know, I it's just like the job market is one thing, right? This will pass, right? I do complain about like not getting internships, right? Um, but eventually I'll have to get one. Everyone's gonna like get a job sometime soon, sooner or later. But like relationships, like I'm feeling that I don't think anyone's gonna can be people dealing with me, right? It the social scene is just not as good. I'm just not that like some I I'm just my woman. I when people say especially us like STEM guys, like we always say we understand this whatever complex concept we know. We feel as if understanding certain complex topics in math and science were easier with dealing with women. We all have seen this joke, but I just want to tell you guys that I've seen those jokes that those are literal jokes. They're not just jokes. And what I mean by that, they're not just jokes. We genuinely do feel that way. We genuinely do feel we could like understand linear algebra than women. Okay, it's just true. But I do also like I think do also kind of did complain about a lot of how the people who do like the red pill movement, the top G, that kind of guy, the manosphere, the looks maxing, whatever. I can complain that all day. And you have heard of me complain that. But sometimes I feel like women aren't innocent either. I know this is kind of hot take, but let me explain what I mean. One thing I'm like happy with the modern world is that in terms of history, like women are having the most rights they will have ever had in history, and that's a good thing. I'm not complaining about that, right? That's not my compl- That's not my main concern. My main concern is that I feel like a lot of the expectations still hasn't catch on to the current realities of um in terms of dating that a lot of the current haven't catch on the fact that women are out earning men. It's that women like I think there are even like studies that show that in places where gender equality is getting good in a way, women's expectations only gotten higher. So essentially, what will be considered like average for a guy back then, simply due to the fact that women lack the ability, now will only take out fewer and fewer guys. And not only that, there are like more and more women opting out of the dating scene entirely. Don't get me wrong, I understand sometimes, if you think women as a group historic, given all their trials and tribulations throughout the years, they will definitely get mentally tired at some point. But like as this process, they sort of like leaving us behind, us guys behind, if you know what I mean. Um, I remember one thing, right? Even though I hope I'm saying this because I like touching grass, I genuinely hope I'm saying this. If you're having relationships, please comment to hopefully make me gain hope in humanity. Right? I hope someone out there will comment that. Right? I hope it's just me. I really hope. She mentioned a thing that sort of a new trend of women complaining about men about saying that how first of all men doesn't do like the housework chores or whatever. Yes, there is a disparity between housework between men and women. That I understand. Okay, I understand. Okay, you know what? I'll cook, I'll clean. Fine. There's this the other day because I've been doing that myself anyways. you know, they gave us a concept called man keeping. Essentially, what they're saying is women are tired of dealing with processing a man's emotions, essentially. And they are not getting into relationships because they don't want to deal with that. This kind of fucks me up. Simply due to the fact that despite my activity on China, I'm actually disabled, I'm actually autistic, right? That's exactly what I need. That's actually what I need that though, you know? But I do need that. I understand people say, okay, you can't like your girlfriend is not a therapist, right? But like there's certain things that because you two are so close together, there are certain things that even your therapist you will not get. You know, you know what I mean? Like because your partner is gonna be closer with you emotionally than your own therapist even. That because like the therapist is supposed to be an observer. That's their job. Like if like usually when a client or a patient has feelings for a therapist, they kind of have to refer that person to a different therapist, if you know what I mean, to avoid conflict or something, right? There are certain things that you and your partner are, because it's closer, it will be like easier to deal with, easier to handle, right? I understand people are like frustrating and anything, but like sometimes I feel like that's what I need in a relationship is what you don't want to deal with, do not want to deal with. But the problem is that I need it soon because I genuinely have special needs. I don't know. You see the issue here because nobody's willing to handle my shit. Yeah. Uh, I think I'll be a horrible boyfriend, honestly. Because of it, I don't know. Because of the finally, let's talk about my family, right? I basically I was like doing my final year project, like kind of busy, and I received a message from my only little sister that she has the thoughts of ending her own life. I immediately have to call her, right? And I still clearly remember her like crying a lot over the um phone, and it low-key that triggered me because when I was like around her age, I kind of also had a lot of mental problems, even though our both of like there are parallels, but like it's kind of different because her reason for her problems is different than my problems. My problems because I got bullied a lot, and my dad is arguing with my dad a lot. That's unfortunately. I basically do have problems on. I think I do have a lot more problems than my sister has, but it's still bad, you know. I remember, it triggered me in a way that even I like started crying over the phone because I remember telling her that I something like that, feeling kind of sorry the fact that I've spent so much time over childhood or even teenage years away from home in a faraway place, right? And I'm able to deal with her sometimes. I remember at the end she told me like not to tell these things to like my parents because she's afraid. Why is she afraid? Because the reason of her concern is because she felt like my parents are arguing a bit too much. And she felt like she is the reason that my parents might broke up. Family problems, basically. Um, as, I'm sorry to, like as I grew up, right? I did argue a lot of that, but later I want to try to gain understanding with him. But I feel like after that, I feel like things aren't necessarily going better. It's just we're going. The family has been going through some relatively easy patch that problems, the underlying problems that we still haven't dealt with, just so happen to like arise um when things suddenly go rough, a little bit rough, I guess, right? So I didn't expect things since I can't really tell my parents about it. I sort of had to tell my grand uncle about it. He's what I mean by grand uncle. He's like I won't say he's like my grandpa, but he's kind of like my grandpa. Also sort of related. Well, technically, it's my dad's. Okay, it's also so basically some family relative, or elderly family relative on my dad's side. Let's just put it that way. She's like the only relative on my dad's side that is relatively close to family. Like my dad's relatives are some kind of distant in a way. Um, Basically, I have to tell him the whole situation, and like I remember him telling me that happy that I've grown up in a way, even though I'm just concerned, mildly. Well, no, more like really concerned, honestly, right? And he told me that, look, man, look. He basically just, you know, the meme, the guy giving the guy a shoulder pat. Look, you're all grown up now. You're all grown up now. You sometimes need to like stand up with my dad or something. But like I wish I could, but like it's more complicated than that. I remember like after when my sister is like crying over the phone, my dad picked up her phone and just told me stuff. Like, well, just let's start having a conversation about that. I tried to like tell my dad, look, man, my sister is not dealing well emotionally. I don't know what's happening with me and my mom, Kate, but can you please calm down? Something like that, right? And I remember my dad saying that, yeah, but like something like even arguing is a form of communication, you know. And he also says that um um my sister like it's not the world is really harsh. My sister needs to learn how to deal with emotions, something like that. But like we all do have to deal with emotions, you know. How do I explain why I don't really like my dad? It's just that he always feel like the weak guy kind of guy. I don't know how to explain it, even though he's a doctor. But anyways, right? In my sort of like he did in his argument, and to be fair, in his defense, in a way, he mentally, I don't think my dad is even that good either. Simply due to the fact that in order to like how it's not even my sister's fault. Okay, Loki is kind of me because sending me to uni does cost a lot of money, right? And because of that, my dad has been like working really hard. Even he is even like working in Sundays. That kind of hard. He is doctor. Don't get me wrong. We are like in terms of finances, we're I won't say we're starving. I will refuse to say that. I'm we're not that poor, okay? But like even so, we're still hanging on barely by a thread. Sometimes I feel like since due to the fact that they won't send me to they or even my sister, hell, even my sister abroad to study, right? It it does cost a lot to especially in international fees. Um, my dad did lift our whole family out of poverty in a way, and he's quite a really traditional guy. So obviously, some of it, the way his faking can be, let's just say, not woke. You know what? Let's just put it that way. He's not as woke. Just put it that way, right? Because that's the best way I could put it, right? Um, and if I just like told him to, okay, look, you're just working a bit too much. You should chill out. But like once he chill out, because he doesn't like work for hospital anymore. He has his own clinic. Like I don't know what will happen to our finances if he suddenly, decide like something happened to him. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying about what I mean by things are holding by a thread. But at the same time, I do want to help, but I don't think I'm capable of it. As I said from the previous set, that like while people are very ambitious, right? I'm really having a hard time like finding income in a way and finding opportunities and jobs. It's just that I'm kind of lost in a way, and also the fact that I like every summer I have to like go back home. Like it's even worse the fact that because one of my main concerns of like not getting any summer internships is that I for the last 2 years I have failed certain subjects in uni that I have to like fly back to London to retake exams in the middle of summer. In which I kind of fear that this might even like happen again, even though I hope I won't. I think I have the lowest chance of that happening. I hope this won't happen, right? But if this doesn't happen, I still got like one more year in. Even like after I got my one more year, we all know have seen the news of how bad the job market is, right? And we're all just having a hard time even like so between my graduation and me finally getting income, there's a good chance that that will be a good chunk of time just me trying to find jobs, you know. And also the with my autism doesn't help simply due to I feel like ever since certain things that happened in my past, mentally speaking, I am like still stuck being 15. No, more like 12 sometimes. Gosh. While I'm just stuck standing here while all the people around me just zoom past by. You know? Even my friend Mason, like he's a great guy, right? He's going to like he's doing his masters in music. I don't know how his parents allow him that because we're all Asian, right? And doing next to my uni, like the music there's a music school next to Imperial actually. Um, and he's gonna go there. I think I'm just stuck. I even like you know my sister talks about family problems. At least one hand, right? One thing that I'm certain is that she does have good friends. And I do have one contact with one of her friends and asked her to check on my sister. Thankfully, it's just family issues. Thankfully. Thankfully, it's just a one problem thing. It's not like me with dealing with a lot of bullying, grades. To be fair, my sister also has a grades issue. But honestly, who can blame her? She's. I really don't want to say this, right? Like she's a little bit restarted, quite frankly. Even though I am the restarted one, okay? I'm supposed to be the retarded one in the family, with the fact that I'm autistic and everything, right? But for some reason, I am the guy who got into a good uni. Yeah, it's a weird. My family's weird. I'll just let the curse end with me. I'll just not have kids and let the curse end with me. Anyways, what I was saying is that my sister, among all my family members, one of my strongest suits that my sister is that she really understands people well. She is sensitive, but like his sensitive also carries over on how she perceives others' emotions. I remember my dad told what well like when I was relatively rebellious, I guess. More like me, always disagree with my dad. My dad always say like, "Come on, why can't be like your sister? Your sister always like knows how to like please someone. She like even like I got mad with her sometimes. Like she does naughty things, right? She always like finds some way to make me like kind of like cheery or something. My dad once said that. And all you do is just like a brick wall, like well, or a brick wall just get even harder and harder, like get even more and more stubborn with your ways, even when I like argue with you or something, you know. Be, um, that's what I. Why do I keep saying, Anyways, and also anyways, sorry for my English. English is not my first language. Mm, okay. I remember my mom telling me, right, behind my dad's back, obviously, that she feels like my dad, all my dad wants was to marry a stupid woman so that he could order her to do whatever she wants. Obviously, my mom is not stupid. I feel like my mom is actually the smartest person in the family. God bless her, honestly. She does work hard, but like she also like willing to spend time with the family and like willing to like buy groceries with us. Even though, in fairness, I did help with the grocery, obviously. Obviously not because I want to. I don't have a choice. Okay, she just yanked me. Okay, yanked me to the market. Whatever. But I just have to do older brother things, right? Also, to worry the fact that my grand uncle that mentioned I've called him. He's in his 80s. He's literally in his 80s. But like he did so much for the family for being the peacemaker slash negotiator kind of guy. I don't know how many years left yet, And I don't think I am due to my autism and whatnot. I don't think I'm capable of stepping up. Even though this is what I'm supposed to as the eldest son. That's my main worry. But like, I also have my own needs too. You know, there are concerns about my family, sure, but like, I do have my own needs. Yeah, I do have to need to do stuff, but like, I also have things that I need. You know, I just don't know. And today, right, is the last day of like the report. We just did a presentation finally. I just like drank some gin and tonic, just got a little bit drunk. I just like type in the whole university subject year group chat, talk about whatever I just talked about, but like in a shorter one without this much detail. And immediately got deleted by one of my sort of classmates that asked me, well, I understand you have problems, but please don't vent in the group chat. You know, the other people are jerks, blah blah blah. I was like, hey, whatever. I'm just a bit drunk. You know, like me oversharing is sort of one of my bad habits, but like I just can't help myself. Uh, I just can't like. There are certain things I just couldn't keep a secret from. You know, especially things like this. But yeah, so I guess this is all I can say. There's only 1 year left of the channel. There's a good chance there are only 1 year left. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario, honestly, best case scenario is just obviously me finding a job and I'll rebrand as the stray cat in insert city here. You know? Wow, my friends would all talk about, oh my god, how they are really excited for this internship. Wow, I'm just like worrying on what worrying if I even like able to do the thesis, master's thesis for next year. I mean like after summer. That's it. I can't even like find a job. I don't know. I know a lot to do, but I don't think I'm capable. This is what. So that's the main moral of story. Like TLDR. Um, I got things that I need to do, but I don't think I could do it. And I just wanna be chill. I just I don't even ask much. I just all I want is a stable, relatively stable income that my family doesn't have to worry about working to the bone anymore, and able to be in love with someone that understands me and understands my needs, I guess. That's all I'm asking. Yep, that's the end of the video. I know this is not the usual video, but I hope you understand. I'm getting teary-eyed right now, so I'm just end it here. Goodbye. And thank you for listening to me for rambling for almost 40 minutes. I'll see you guys next video. Bye bye.